Welcome to Dominion Ministries. I'm Ben. So glad that you joined me today. Grab a quick cup of coffee and let's talk. Let's talk about the Bible. There's a word that's been stirring inside of me for a little while now. I'm still kind of processing it. It's a familiar story from the Bible, but just something that struck me recently. Just talking with various different people. So it's the story of from 1 Kings chapter 17, the widow of Zarephath. And so Elijah proclaims it's not going to rain, there's going to be a drought, then a famine breaks out, and he's in the wilderness, the ravens are bringing him food, the brook dries up, and once the brook dries up, God says, go to Zarephath, I've commanded a widow to take care of you there. Interesting that when he arrived, she hadn't gotten the memo yet. But God being God, knows things and has arranged things and knows people, and makes provision for us even when the people God is moved to provide for us, they're not even aware of it. But God is. So he shows up. He's like, hey, do you got anything to eat? Well, I've just got a little bit of flour, a little bit of oil. I'm just getting some sticks so I can make a couple little cakes or, a little more like biscuits, I suppose, for me and my son. And then we're going to sit back and wait to die. He goes, don't be afraid. Go and do that, but feed me first, and then feed yourselves. For God says that there will be flour and oil in your container until the time the Lord sends rain and the crops grow again. And so she has a moment of decision. Does she feed herself, or does she do as the prophet has commanded, as the word of the Lord is, and feed him first? Then she can feed herself. And if she does, the oil and the flour will not run out until the rain comes and the crops grow. And so this is what's been stirring in my heart. So she does that. She feeds him, then herself, and during that whole time, even though it was just a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil, it never ran out. God sustained it. It doesn't say that he filled the jar of flour or the jar of oil, but it was always enough. And so no matter how much they ate or how little they ate, it never ran out. They could just keep making and baking and eating. So this is where it gets personal for me as I was processing this. 22 probably years ago or so, I knew somebody that was going through a real tough time financially, and I wanted to send them $100 so they could just buy some groceries. That's before it cost $300 to get 4 items at Target or at Walmart. Anyway, so I had purposed in my heart to do that. I reached out to somebody that had told me about the situation, told them that I had planned to do that. But then something came up. Something came up in that moment. And all of a sudden, we overdrafted and some other expenses came up. And it was years later before I made good on what I'd promised and what I had said. And as I've been reading the stories, processing that, and that's when the moment our financial troubles began as a family, me and my wife. God has blessed us. We've got a beautiful farm, got 2 horses and a pony. We've got dogs and chickens. We have a pond. I got a nice John Deere tractor. We have some wonderful children, and God has blessed us tremendously. But the enemy tried to rob us, and did for a long time, of what God had in store for us. So what happens is, like with this widow, you have a moment when there's something that you know God has put on your heart to do, and something else comes up instead. And what you do is forgive me for yawning so much today. What happens is instead of obeying God and doing what he said to do with that money, we use it to take care of our own needs. And what happens is we miss the miracle. When we get into self-preservation mode and taking care of self mode, we miss the opportunity for God to do the miracle for us and to see his provision and his abundance take place. Everybody else around them starved. And even though it was a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour, right? They could have eaten and eaten and eaten and eaten till they were fat, right? And darn near ready to puke. But it was to stay. They never ran out. But had this woman decided to take care of her needs first, she would have missed the miracle. She would have completely missed the miracle that God had for her. So, and this is what God has been just really laying on my heart lately is obey first. Take care of your needs second. Pastor, I would really love to tithe, but oh man, I'm really behind this month. Well, pay God first and then watch him provide for your bills, right? Boy, I would love to be a part of your outreach, but I've just got, well, how about you do the outreach? Give to God first and then take care of your other stuff, right? We relegate God to a second place. God is to get our first, to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, then love our neighbor as ourselves. And when we prioritize God in obedience to him, and in that also taking care of other people, we had our dear friend Tom Stammen with Impact Ministries. They have a huge orphanage in Honduras. It takes a lot of money to run that orphanage. They're becoming almost completely self-sustaining regarding food. They're raising chickens. They have goats and cows and sheep and all of this. They have tilapia, right? Vegetables are growing. They have they're completely self-sustaining. But it began with prioritizing taking care of people and meeting the needs of these kids. And I challenged the people last night, give something. Well, Pastor, I got bills coming up. Yeah, well, give to God something. Give to God a faith seed tonight in obedience to care for these orphans and watch God meet your need. Watch God do something supernatural. But we want to hoard. We want to, well, I got to get new tires on my van. We're getting ready to head out to South Dakota soon on a family vacation, getting me and my brother and sister out there and their families. And, right? I've got needs. We're going on a family vacation. I need to get new tires. I probably should get the oil changed before we go. I got to find someone that can take care of the farm while we're away. All these different needs. But when I prioritize obedience to the kingdom, obedience to God, and giving generously first to God and to the things that are important to God, then the miracles of provision take place. Some of you are struggling so bad financially because you don't, right? You number one, you don't give. Number two, if you do give, you're foolish with what comes in. Number three, and it may not be that you're struggling, but you're just unaware of how God is blessing you. right? I heard Ted Shuttlesworth Jr. talked about that. There was a guy, he just struggling and just could never seem to make ends meet, just never had enough. And they sat down, went all over his bills and all this stuff. He's like, brother, at the end of the month, you've got an extra $1,200 left over after you pay everything. Where's that other $1,200 going? Well, I don't know. Right, it's a trip to the gas station to get snacks, right? Get some gas and get a Snickers and a Red Bull. Going out to lunch, buying the coffee. That's one of the things the Lord's spoken to me about. I do on occasion when I have a meeting with somebody, I'll go out for coffee, but I don't, if I'm out and about or whatever, I don't go to Starbucks, or here in Minnesota, it's Caribou, or to the local coffee shop, the Coffee Fool, here in our town of Lonsdale. I don't. But I want to prioritize my resources for his kingdom. And when my wife and I have done that, we've watched God bless us tremendously. Somebody gave us a horse. My wife really, really, really wanted a horse. And the first horse that we got was a gift. It was, you never look a gift horse in the mouth, but we have. Especially when you come up with an apple and that sucker opens his mouth up and, it's a female, opens her mouth up and tries to darn near ingest your hand to get that apple. But, God has blessed us, but God has given us things that we've wanted and that we've desired because we've made a priority out of obedience. We give generously. We're supporting the work of God. We're supporting a man in Bangladesh, Brother Herman. There are all sorts of different things that we have made a priority, and we've gone without things. But as we have given generously into the kingdom and prioritized giving to God first, God has always met our needs. He's blessed us beyond measure. And so that's my challenge to you today. I want you to give a faith seed. You can give Cash App, Dominion Men, also on PayPal, same Dominion Men. Sow today. If you don't give to your local church, give to your local church. Give a gift to your local church today. Give a faith seed and a faith offering. What does it need? You need new tires. You need bills paid. You need food. You need a new home. You need an apartment. What is it that you need? Well, let's do what this widow did. And let's give to God first. Let's sow into God, into his kingdom. We're working on getting outreach and ministry really revving up in Bangladesh right now, as God has spoken to me to partner with a man there. And we're also doing outreaches here in the United States, primarily here in Minnesota, working at getting our farm ready to hold revival meetings here. But sow something today. Sow something into Dominion. You can always reach out to me privately, and if you want to give cash or a check. But sow something today, and assign a faith seed to it. Assign something to it today that I'm giving this to the Lord because, one, I love God. I'm going to be obedient. I'm giving out of like the widow with the widow's mite, right, with the little copper coins. I'm prioritizing God first and giving because, right, and give something that was all she had. She gave more than everybody else. It's not the size of the gift, it's the size of the heart of the giver. It's the size of the gift in relative to the need of the giver, right? Somebody could give $1,000 today and they wouldn't feel the pinch. And someone could give $5 today and man, that's all they got to get to work this week. And that's not even hardly even get them a gallon of gas. But sow something today. Sow something to Dominion. Sow something to your local church. Find another person in need of if you need gas, buy somebody else a tank of gas today. Whatever it might be, you give generously first to God. And what we do to the least, we do to him. So give something generous today and watch what God will do for you. I can tell you, as we have prioritized giving to the needs of others, giving to the work of the kingdom, God has taken care of me and my wife and our children and blessed them tremendously. Now, I was thinking about this the other day, and then we're going to wrap up. And I want to pray for you. We always have chocolate milk in our fridge. Now, that doesn't seem like a big thing, right? Chocolate milk, what's the big deal? Well, growing up, boy, I tell you what, once or twice a year, if we were lucky, my parents would get chocolate milk. And not only would we get chocolate milk, we could only fill the glass halfway, and then we had to fill the rest with white milk, right? But I can drink all the chocolate milk I want. I had 2 tall glasses of chocolate milk last night. And nobody told me no one scolded, nobody thought anything of it. Why? Because, listen, when I was growing up, that was like, whoa, something huge. See, when we talk about prosperity and we talk about blessing, it's not driving a big fancy car and having a fancy suit. Like, this is a nice suit coat, nice shirt. These are expensive. They were given to me. We were blessed with them. But something simple like always having chocolate milk in the fridge, like that's a big deal to me. Like, it might not seem like, but if you knew what it was like growing up, when I grew up, where, we didn't have a lot. I mean, not that we were dirt poor, but I mean, chocolate milk is expensive, right? That's, 75 cents for a gallon. Like, that's a lot of money in the day. But there's simple little things that we take for granted that are a really big deal. Always have chocolate milk. We have ice cream in the fridge. We have snacks. Like, the amount of snacks that my kids eat is mind-boggling when I compare that to my childhood. If I wanted snacks, I lived in Iowa, so it was 5 cents per can that you brought into to redeem. You can bring it into a gas station or grocery store. And so I'd ride around all day with bags and backpacks, and man, I'd be picking up cans. I'd take them somewhere, cash them in, get a couple bucks, and then buy candy and pop. Like, that was a big deal growing up. But if I really wanted snacks, my kids have so much. Like, the amount of junk that my kids eat is pretty ridiculous. But when I compare that to what it was like for me growing up, I can see how much God has blessed my life. Prosperity isn't just about money, right? We have animals. Like, we have 3 kids. We have our oldest. She's adopted. My wife and I were not able to have biological children. Then God opened a door for us to get another adopted child. And God's got his hand on these kids. Like, our first one was a miracle. Our middle child, her story is, the fact that kid is alive is a miracle. From where she was found and the condition that she was in. I mean, the fact that she's alive and that, like, is amazing. And then our youngest, our little Isaac, he's our own biological child. We were told we'd never have biological children. And we tried meds and whatever, and in vitro was out of the question, just way too expensive. But God blessed us. Prosperity is more than just money and possessions, but you look through your life at little things and see how much God has tremendously blessed you. Why is that the case for my life? Because my wife and I have purposed to make God our priority, to raise our children in church, to teach our kids about, the kids get an allowance, and right off the top, 10% is taken out. And then we'll transfer that money, and then they can bring it to the church and pay their tithes. So, my friends, God wants to bless you, but you'll block yourself from receiving the great blessings God has for you if you're greedy, if you hoard, if you take care of yourself first. Pay God first. Take care of the needs of other people around you. Make a generous donation today to Dominion. Go on our YouTube channel, go on our Facebook page, look at the ways to give. Partner with us, because every penny that's come in to Dominion so far is on its way out. I haven't taken a penny of it for myself. I haven't bought a Snickers bar. I haven't had a business meeting and got coffee. It's gone to fund the work of the gospel. And would you partner with us today? Would you give something generously today? Like this widow, a faith seed and believe God to do something miraculous to meet your needs. My friends, you'll never walk in dominion if you're stingy. Walk in dominion, my friends. Give something generous to the kingdom today.